first storyteller is Susan Rohde. Susan currently works at Triton College in staff development and is looking forward to retirement. Having grown up in idyllic Arlington Heights and then Schaumburg, Susan has lived in the city for 18 years and has loved almost every minute of it. Fair enough. Susan joins us tonight to represent the Healing Corner, an organization. Yeah. You know what? I want it all, you guys. An organization that is very dear to her. When I asked Susan why she wanted to participate in tonight's show, this is what she told me. Chicago has enough resources for everyone, and I believe we can find a way to provide for those less fortunate. I have been blessed beyond measure, and I feel I have a duty to contribute. I can't do everything, but I can do something. Susan, please help us get the show started.
It was December 2022 when I pulled my Mrs. Claus outfit out of the closet. I had plans to help Ariel deliver Christmas gifts the next day. And the next day was just so Chicago gray and slushy and ugly. And my first task was to pick up the cargo van from this off-brand rental place on Cicero Avenue. So I put my outfit on and I went to pick up the van. I went in wearing the outfit thinking I might get a discount, but he wasn't a believer. My next job was to go to Rita's house to load all the presents into the van. I'm sure many of you have had this experience. You get to you offer to help a friend move, and you get there in the morning and they're not ready. That drives me out of my mind. Now, I want to be very careful criticizing anybody from the Healing Corner, because these are people just like you and I, with full-time jobs and families and bills to pay, and yet they found the time to get Christmas gifts for 42 families. Now, with 2 to 5 kids in each family, that's a lot of presents. And it wasn't like everybody got a checkerboard and a squishy and a book bag. Ariel and her team with the Healing Corner actually found out what every child wanted, and then they scrounged and begged and got donations until every child had the gift that they actually wanted. My partner that day was a 6 foot, 18-year-old African-American Mr. Santa. So he was a huge help in loading the van, and things went pretty quickly. So we picked up Ariel and we started delivering gifts all over the West Side. Excuse me. Now, I swear every apartment we went to was on the 3rd floor of a walk-up. And it was like narrow, rickety stairs. There was times when the step was missing and I'd have to like pull up my skirt and leap over this stair while I'm holding a bag of presents. I ran into one young lady. I think she was 10 or 12 years old. Quite honestly, I don't remember. But she had mobility issues. And every morning to get to school, she had to scoot down these dirty, rickety stairs on her butt and then scoot back up at the end of the school day. And it made me so sad that we can't do better for a child, let alone each other. So every time we got to the apartment, it smelled of something wonderful cooking on the stove. And you could tell that apartments were nice and neat, and you could tell the parents were doing everything they could to make things good for their kids. And we would go in there with these presents, and there was so much joy. And quite honestly, they didn't care much about me as Mrs. Claus. It was Santa they wanted. So I handed out gifts and I took pictures, but there was so much joy in the room. And it was the joy that, that I found most appealing. It reminded me of my son, Wally, who was just pure joy and mischief and kindness. He was helping a friend fix his car in a garage late at night because the kid needed a car the next day when someone shot and killed him for no goddamn good reason. Somebody just shot into the garage and the bullet hit the car he was working on and bounced off it and hit him in the head, and he died a couple hours later. And what I missed the most was that joy. And I went to grief therapy, and I went to support groups. And God bless the people who run those groups and the people who find peace there, but I couldn't stand to be in those rooms where it was hard to breathe because there was more grief in the room than there was oxygen. But through these people, I found the healing corner, and that's where I started to find joy again. The healing corner was started by these two young women, I don't know, 22 years old or something, and they go into the city, primarily Humboldt Park and Gage Park, which are so badly hit by gun violence, and they set up tables in the summer near a park. And they get there early enough to clean up the liquor bottles and the hypodermic needles so the kids can play. And they set up these tables and they put out food and toiletries and over-the-counter medicines and gun locks and whatever these people might possibly need. And for those few hours, there's community. There's this beautiful community, and that's really the mission of the Healing Corner. Ariel does a particularly good job with young men in those areas to keep them from the appeal of fast money and friends in the gangs. She takes them under her wings and takes such good care of them. And that's where I started to find joy again. So that Saturday morning when we were delivering gifts, and by now my beautiful Mrs. Claus outfit was so sweaty and dirty and gross, and the engine light had gone on in the cargo van, and it was so cold outside, but too hot in the apartments, and sometimes I wish I had just stayed home, but I would have missed all the joy. And I'm really grateful to Ariel and the team with the Healing Corner, not only for making a difference in this city and helping to rebuild it, but for creating an environment where people like myself can go in and feel like they're making a difference. Thank you.
The Healing Corner.
The Healing Corner.
The Healing Corner. That must be Ariel. All right, represent. I love it. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for kicking us off. To learn how you came to the Healing Corner and what keeps you coming back is so tragic and bittersweet. And bottom line is never underestimate the woman in the Mrs. Claus costume.